Hi everyone, this is Pastor Dan from Calvary Chapel, Cle Elum in Washington. We've come now to the next piece of armor that Paul mentions in his list of spiritual armor to help us thrive and survive in the spiritual warfare that we face if we're believers in Jesus Christ. So far we've talked about the belt of truth, the breastplate of righteousness, the gospel of peace, and the shield of faith. Now we come to the helmet of salvation. The first part of Ephesians 6 verse 17, Paul says, "And take the helmet of salvation." Today I'd like to give you a short introduction to this piece of the armor, and then next week we'll start getting into the meat of it. Now I can't remember when this happened or where, but there was a time when I was in a building with a basement and I was going down the stairs to get into the basement. Well, it was a steep set of stairs, definitely not built according to code, no doubt because of the limited amount of space available. There was a point when the ceiling dropped quite low and you had to duck to make sure that you didn't hit your head. And above that particular part of the ceiling on the way down was a sign that said simply, "Watch your head." And the meaning was obvious. Be careful, you're going to whack your noggin on the way down. And surely that's good advice, right? Nowadays, there are a few bicycle riders in our town, especially in the summer months. Maybe you've noticed that a few of these bike riders don't wear any sort of protective headgear when they're riding. Well, a medical professional once went for a quick, helmetless bike ride in her neighborhood and ended up crashing and seriously hurting her head in the process. That injury, which might have been avoided had she been wearing a helmet, forced her to quit practicing medicine. I've seen similar situations with those who crash while riding motorcycles without helmets, and believe me, it is not a pretty picture, and every one of them admits that they wish they had worn a helmet. The lesson? Watch your head. The number of Christians who pay no attention to this obviously wise counsel is something that really concerns me. They don't cultivate a Christian mindset or worldview. Instead, they follow after the currents of entertainment and worldly notions. The godless philosophical presumptions that underpin worldly thoughts seem unknown to them. They subscribe to the postmodern theory that there is no such thing as truth that is knowable and unchanging as it relates to morality in the spiritual world. These irresponsible Christians disregard and occasionally outright mock the importance of good doctrine. Experience, not good teaching, is what they want. It's all about feeling good all the time, and they seem to care less about thinking the right way. They are not challenged by the renewing of their minds because they do not care for their heads. Rather, they are assimilated into this wicked society. We find out how to keep this from happening by paying attention to what Paul says in Romans 12, 1 and 2. He says, "I beseech you, therefore, brethren, by the mercies of God, that you present your bodies a living sacrifice, wholly acceptable to God, which is your reasonable service. And do not be conformed to this world, but be transformed by the renewing of your mind, that you may prove what is that good and acceptable, perfect will of God." This is Paul's prescription for how to not just blend in with wicked society. It's how we can watch our heads. And folks, one of the chief ways we can watch our heads is to put on the helmet of salvation. So Paul says, "And take the helmet of salvation." This is what our focus will be over the next few weeks. First, we'll talk about the helmet, and then we'll talk about the salvation. So I hope you'll come back for that next week. And once again, I hope this has been an encouragement to you. If it has, would you do me a favor? Click the like button, maybe share an encouraging word in the comment section. And please, would you share this with somebody that you think might benefit from it? We all need to wear the helmet of salvation after all. And if you're watching on the Calvary Chapel Cle Elum YouTube channel, would you subscribe to the channel? If you're in the Cle Elum area, you don't have a home church, would you consider maybe joining us on Sunday morning at 10 a.m. at 417 East Railroad Avenue in Cle Elum? Again, this is Pastor Dan from Calvary Chapel, Cle Elum. Thanks for joining me today. May God bless you and keep you. And until we're able to get together next week, my prayer is that God will show us just how important it is that we guard the minds and the thoughts that we have so that we don't get sucked in by the enemy. In Jesus' name.